Every glitch in the system is a harrowing echo of shattered families, crushed dreams, and lives forever scarred by betrayal. A relentless reminder that when technology fails, it's humanity that pays the ultimate price. What if I told you a computer system could turn honest people into criminals overnight? I'm NJ, and welcome to Freak Files. Today I reveal the dark, unspoken truth behind the Post Office Horizon scandal. A digital nightmare where negligence and betrayal weren't just technical flaws, but lethal mistakes that ruined over 900 lives. This isn't a story about a simple software error. I wrote this script myself, pouring every ounce of frustration and disbelief into it, and you're hearing it through an AI voice designed to heighten the eeriness of it all. The story you're about to hear is one of corporate indifference, systemic failure, and human tragedy. It begins in the late 1990s when Britain was desperate to modernize its outdated systems, only to discover that technology, when misused, can become the deadliest weapon of all. In the 1990s, the UK government and the Post Office set out on an ambitious mission. Welfare benefits were still distributed via paper checks called giros, a system riddled with inefficiencies and losing an estimated £150 million a year to fraud. The answer, they believed, lay in digitization. Enter Horizon, a cutting-edge software system developed by Pathway, a subsidiary of Fujitsu, that promised to automate transactions, improve accounting accuracy, and stamp out fraud once and for all. But beneath this glossy promise lay a ticking time bomb that would soon shatter countless lives. During early trials, Horizon began to reveal its fatal flaws. Errors were discovered, data vanishing, transactions miscalculating, balances failing to reconcile. Yet rather than halting the rollout, those in charge pressed on, determined to meet deadlines and defend a billion-pound investment. By 1999, Horizon was rebranded and pushed into over 13,000 post office branches nationwide. Every time the system faltered, the blame was placed squarely on the shoulders of sub-postmasters, the independent operators who had invested their life savings in their branches. The stage was set for an unprecedented tragedy. Now, imagine running your community's local post office, a lifeline for your neighbors and friends. One day, you discover your accounts are inexplicably short by thousands of pounds. You know you've done nothing wrong, yet the system declares you responsible. The post office demands that you cover the shortfall from your own pocket. Loan after loan, house after house, these sub-postmasters, ordinary people with no corporate safety net, found themselves drowning in debt. Their reputations tarnished. Many faced criminal charges for a fault they could not control. The very tool that was meant to bring efficiency became the instrument of their ruin. You might ask, weren't these people properly trained? The answer is a brutal no. Training sessions for Horizon lasted barely one day for frontline staff and a day and a half for managers. For many sub-postmasters, it was their first encounter with computer-based systems, now expected to master an intricate, error-ridden software that held their livelihoods in its digital grip. One notorious glitch, infamously known as the Mellington bug, emerged during these early days. If the system froze during a transaction, a simple press of the Enter key would multiply the transaction by several times its original value. Imagine an instinctive tap, a desperate attempt to recover, turning a £1,000 transaction into a runaway £4,000 disaster. That single keystroke, repeated in panic, became a death sentence for many. And the horror didn't stop there. Another glitch, the calendar square bug, would duplicate transactions without warning, locking in irreversible errors that no amount of recalculation could fix. But here's the most chilling part. Behind closed doors, Fujitsu engineers were capable of remotely adjusting figures without ever informing the sub-postmasters. Overnight software updates pushed silently into the system further warped the financial records, leaving these operators to face a new, unfathomable shortfall each morning. Every day, they woke up to a fresh nightmare, a digital ledger that betrayed them with every click. As the technical failures mounted, the post office's response was cold and unyielding. Instead of acknowledging the software's faults, they shifted the burden entirely onto the sub-postmasters. Over 900 individuals were prosecuted for alleged theft and false accounting. Faced with mounting legal pressure and the horrifying prospect of prison, many pleaded guilty, believing perhaps that a plea was the only escape from an inescapable digital trap. The legal system, designed to protect the innocent, instead became a mechanism for corporate cover-up, leaving these victims branded as criminals for errors that were never their own. In the midst of this darkness, one man dared to challenge the status quo. Alan Bates, a sub-postmaster with a background in IT, saw through the smoke and mirrors of Horizon. Rather than silently suffer, he began to document every error, every discrepancy. His evidence was meticulous. Testimonies, technical anomalies, and financial irregularities compiled into a dossier that would eventually force the truth into the light. In 2009, Bates brought his findings to Computer Weekly, sparking a public outcry that resonated far beyond his small branch. His courageous stand led to a landmark legal battle, and in 2018, a judge declared Horizon unfit for purpose. Yet, even this hard-won victory was tempered by the immense human cost already paid. Despite the monumental legal recognition of Horizon's failures, true justice has remained frustratingly elusive. By early 2024, only 95 wrongful convictions had been overturned. Hundreds of sub-postmasters continue to bear the weight of criminal records, a scar that no apology or settlement can fully erase. The government eventually reached a £57.7 million settlement for 555 claimants, but a staggering £46 million of that vanished into legal fees. The compensation was a bitter reminder of how corporate accountability often fails those who suffer most. Even more shocking, not a single executive from Fujitsu or the post office has faced criminal charges for this catastrophe. The architects of this disaster remain free, their names untouched by the very system they built. Internal documents later exposed the chilling truth. The flaws in Horizon were known from the start. Engineers flagged critical issues as early as 2000, yet decision-makers chose to ignore the warnings. Prioritizing profits, bonuses, and corporate reputation, they pushed the system forward, leaving a trail of shattered lives in their wake. This wasn't a series of unfortunate accidents, it was a calculated betrayal. The system's failures were not a bug, they were a symptom of a deeper moral decay, where the pursuit of financial gain eclipsed the value of human life. Horizon stands as a grim testament to what happens when technology is wielded without accountability, when those in power choose silence over responsibility. The Horizon scandal isn't just a cautionary tale about faulty software. It's a stark reminder that behind every algorithm lies human decision, and sometimes those decisions can be catastrophic. When we place blind faith in technology, we risk sacrificing the very people it was meant to serve. The legacy of Horizon is one of broken lives, tarnished reputations, and a justice system that failed to protect its most vulnerable citizens. We must learn from this dark chapter and demand accountability from those who control our digital future. If this story leaves you as outraged and heartbroken as it did me, then join the fight for truth and transparency. I'm NJ, and you've just witnessed Freak Files peeling back the layers of one of tech's most horrifying scandals. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and always question the systems that govern our lives. Until next time, remember, behind every line of code, there's a human choice, and sometimes those choices change lives forever.